This is DaveNoseworthyMMA.
It was recently announced that the first title defense for Rose Namajunas would be against the woman who she took the title from, Joanna Jedrzejczyk. An instant rematch was granted to the former champion after coming off of a knockout loss, a fight in which she was actually the favorite to win. JJ is only the second ever UFC Women's Strawweight champion, and throughout her reign, she's defended that title 5 times, which is a whole lot in this day and age in the UFC. So, I've always been a huge fan of Joanna, but there is no way she should be getting an instant rematch. I imagine my opinion on this is the unpopular one, but it stems from not just this particular fight, but the precedent that has been set in the promotion over the years. The general consensus seems to be that because JJ held the title for an extended period of time and then lost it, that she should be awarded an immediate rematch, and I couldn't disagree with this anymore. For me, instant rematches should be a very rare occurrence, only coming about when there's some sort of major controversy over a decision or some sort of foul or DQ taking place. One set of fights that comes to mind is the two between Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Even though the first bout ended in a majority draw, I'm still of the mind that Thompson had his chance at the title, and although that the fight was so damn close, the end result was that he was unsuccessful in dethroning the champ, therefore he should have to earn that spot again. I'm not suggesting that he have to start from the very bottom. In fact, in this situation, maybe even just one more fight to get another crack at the crown. But granting an immediate rematch in this situation almost defeats the purpose of a title fight, in my opinion. Even after Chris Weidman lost the middleweight title to Luke Rockhold, though the instant rematch didn't materialize because Weidman got injured, the plan was to just give that fight a redo, and I don't understand why this is the norm. Rockhold's win could not have been any more decisive. Weidman was a fantastic champion, but the reality is that a contender rose to the occasion and dethroned the champion, and thus became the champion himself. Having some sort of obligation to give an instant rematch to the former champ because he or she has a few title defenses is something I really hope is going to change at some point. Personally, I think Thug Rose vs. JJ rematch would be much more memorable and historic if they were to take a different route. Let Rose defend the title one time while Joanna goes and takes a fight against a top contender. If it works out such that Rose makes her first defense and Joanna scores a win over a top strawweight, I feel like the build-up and the promotion for the rematch would be much more memorable and exciting for everybody. If it happens that one of the women lose and we don't get the rematch right away, then so be it. It wasn't meant to be. It'll make it all the more interesting if they meet down the line after a few more fights each. There are definitely examples of when instant rematches have paid off. Shogun vs. Machida, Frankie Edgar vs. Gray Maynard are a couple that come to mind, but I feel like those two were warranted given the circumstances. But I can't imagine Anderson Silva vs. Chael Sonnen 2 being as historic and monumental as it was if they had just given Chael the instant rematch. Granted, that was the plan, but after Sonnen popped for banned substances, they had to go down a different road. Silva defended the crown twice in highlight reel fashion, while Chael sat on the bench for a year, only to return and knock off two of the very top guns in the division in Brian Stann and Michael Bisping. All the while, fans were clamoring for the rematch for Silva. Sonnen earned it, and immense anticipation was built because of that, and it made for the biggest fight in UFC history at the time. I don't think it would have been the same experience had the UFC just given Sonnen a redo after almost beating Silva in the first bout. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of JJ, but she lost that title fair and square. Thug Rose showed up and got JJ out of there in the very first round. There was nothing controversial about it. And I'm not hearing anything about those rankings. People often forget the ranking system came about in the UFC when they signed a deal with Fox. It was only implemented to give the casual viewer an idea of where certain fighters stand. Over time, so many have forgotten about this and treat it and talk about it like it isn't the fickle, inconsistent system it is. The precedent set is all wrong. Giving instant rematches this often detracts from the specialness of them.